Hello, my name is Kyle Foster, and this presentation will be about Pakistan and the debt crisis that this country has been facing and is still currently facing. So most countries in the modern world use debt. Here in America, we have a national debt of more than $20 trillion, as most people know. In simple terms, national debt is kind of like a credit card for the nation. The GDP is comparable to a job that brings in the money. So the debt is the credit card, the GDP is the income. In a normal household, we use credit to purchase things that we can't afford or we don't want to sink the capital into, and then we use payments over a period of time to slowly pay it off. A country will go into debt to buy things and then use the GDP or the money it takes in to make those payments. The important thing to remember about a national debt is the debt to GDP ratio. Economists will use this ratio to determine the country's ability to pay back its debt. You often see the ratio either in a ratio form or in a percent form. So the higher the ratio or percent, the less likely the country will be able to pay back the debt. The World Bank suggests that once a country exceeds 77% debt to GDP, that it will soon slow economic growth. So this is a cool little formula for it. So Pakistan's current debt as of June 2020 is 87%, which is more than 77% that it takes to lead to economic growth. And this in turn makes it harder for them to pay back their debts as well as their interest. So Pakistan is already having a hard time covering interest costs. So 42% of the increase in debt over the past 2 years is strictly due to debt servicing, which is made up of both the interest and principal payments that they had to borrow on to make a payment. So 42% of their increased debt from the past 2 years is due from not being able to make the payments and increasing the debt just strictly due to interest. Okay, so here is the past on how Pakistan got to where they were at. So the original thing that got Pakistan into high debt was high oil prices in the 1970s. They have since been continually in debt. They have been able to keep afloat through bailout loans from multiple different places: the World Bank, Asian Development Bank, Japanese government, International Monetary Fund, as well as China. A lot of these places not only have helped them with the high oil prices, but it also goes towards irrigation as well as natural disasters, which have plagued Pakistan. Okay, so what has the government done to help pay back the debt, you might ask? Well, they tried a few policies to get the debt under control. They have not been successful so far. They have instituted tax increases, is the main way that they've tried to, but studies show that they have failed and that they actually only increase taxes on the poor by about 7%, while also decreasing the tax of the rich by 15%. So overall they gain less money and were able to pay less towards the taxes. So there's a lot of studies out there, especially one from the research institutes, that show that it did a lot more harm, that the government did a lot more harm than good towards not only Pakistan but also their debt. So, what does the future hold for Pakistan? Well, if Pakistan did 3 short things, they'd be able to get their debt under control. So, the first thing that they need to do is that they need to stop going into debt. They continue to borrow a lot from China to help with infrastructure projects right now and in the future. They're borrowing a lot of money from China currently, and it is increasing the debt by an insurmountable amount. So Pakistan either needs to find a new way to finance or just cancel the projects. Secondly, Pakistan spends an outrageous amount of money on their defense because they do not have good relations with their neighbors. So if they were able to be friendly with them and be able to allocate that defense fund towards the debt, that will help them pay it down. Then the last way is to gain the trust of taxpayers back. Right now the government is having a hard time getting everyone to pay the taxes because of the amount of corruption that has been in the Pakistan government. So the people of Pakistan are tired of sending the money to the government and not have it better their lives, especially since it's a lot more of the poor people who are paying it due to these tax increases or policies that the government has been instituting. So if Pakistan can raise their revenue by gaining the trust of the taxpayers, they can bring their debt to a manageable amount. If they can't control it, inflation will set in. Countries and banks will stop loaning them money. Bailouts will stop coming in from different banks and countries. And the worst outcome possible that they could do is declare bankruptcy and default on their loans. So, in conclusion, Pakistan needs to learn to stop going into debt and be able to pay down their debt. Thank you.